White Bluff Planning Commission on March 12th, 2024. Mr. Jim, would you call the roll, please, sir?
Yes, sir. Raymond Albert.
Present.
Linda Hayes.
Here.
Debbie Brewer.
Here.
Ernest Pike. Here. Donnie Reed.
Here.
Okay. Everyone had time to look over the minutes of the January 9th organizational meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the organizational meeting minutes from January 9th.
All right, I have a motion for the organization January 9th. I hear a second.
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, how about the minutes for the January 9th regular planning meeting commission?
I'll make a motion that we approve the meetings for January 9th, regular planning commission meeting.
All right, I have a motion to approve the January 9th regular planning commission meetings. I hear a second.
I'll second.
And a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now then, we're down to, that's Amanda, for considering the ordinance of zoning of White Bluff.
Do we have any public comments? Okay. Okay.
No one.
Just wanted-
We're good.
wanted to double stroke there. Okay, so a couple of things, since you saw this last. I've reorganized, the order of the text, from when you saw it last. So, the flow of the document, starts with the, definitions like it did last time. The second part of the amendment starts with section 3.130, the non-industrial renewable energy system. So it flows like it does in the zoning ordinance. So it goes an amendment to Article 2 and then the amendment to Article 3, which specifies, again, the difference between a non-industrial renewable energy system and a renewable energy facility. One of which is designed for primarily off-site energy use, one where the other is for on-site. So a residential geothermal, residential solar panels, even at a commercial level, if a commercial wanted to install solar panels at their facility to help generate electricity for their facility or for their place, that's fine. As opposed to a non-industrial renewable energy system, which is, as opposed to renewable energy facility, which is anticipated to be a standalone use where that is the primary use of the lot and is intended to generate electricity for off-site use. So that's the primary difference.
Is it a power plant or not?
Basically. Yes. And that goes into A and B where it talks about the applicability. There in bold, it does say that other sections of the zoning ordinance govern renewable energy system facility, which are the lot's primary use. So again, we're not anti-renewable energy systems. We just want to be sure that there is a distinction between your smaller residential commercial versus your larger industrial standalone production distribution. It goes into C and D. Nothing there has changed, just saying that provisions apply with the International Building Code where applicable. Anything that is installed is required to have the applicable permits, state, federal, et cetera, et cetera. Then we get into Part 3, which is where the amendment for the zoning ordinance under Article 5. After discussion with staff after the work session, there were a couple of ideas that were discussed, and the end result was removing the site-specific requirement and relying on the default 10 acres, the default site minimum land requirement for the I-3 zone. Just to make sure that there's no conflict, just to make sure that it's clean, it's understandable. I also went through and ensured that there are no references to the Board of Zoning Appeals, keeping the structure as is at this point in time. If you also choose to make a recommendation in the future to change the process in which special exceptions or whatnot are processed, then that's a conversation we can have. But for purposes of this specific amendment, it envisions moving forward just as things currently stand.
Instead of 5 acres, 10 acres.
10 acres. Yes. so-
And the setbacks change as well. And the reason for that is, you know, a lot of jurisdictions are using the 5 acre and the setbacks you saw on Thursday, but after we talked about it more, later in that I-3 zoning section, it talks about minimum lot size, and we felt it was better to keep it consistent with the entirety of I-3, like Amanda said, so 10 acre minimum, 500-foot lot width at the building setback, and then you've got a 150-foot front setback and 100 side and rear, unless it abuts, residential will be 150. What that ends up doing is meaning these renewable energy sites or off-site, these power plants, if you will, are going to have to be on larger lots. They just are. Now, again, we talked on Thursday, landscaping, all of that comes into play as well, but it does help buffer between the size of the lot and then other aspects we have in our zoning ordinance now recently, really help buffer it from other people, from some of them aren't the most pretty things in the world, so a larger lot and things like that are going to help.
Are we anticipating any of this? I mean, what's that?
It's happening in Tennessee.
Is it? Okay.
And
Can you give me an example of like where someone could bring it? I can't get it in my mind exactly. I'm thinking these big tower things and everything. What do we? I'm sorry, I missed the work session, so I kind of.
Typically, what we would probably see first would be a solar farm, and that's just where you have large solar panels just lined up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And typically, they're on really big lots. And so, just a couple of things, no, we haven't been contacted by anybody. There's nothing in the works.
Okay.
This is just a kind of a preemptive thing. But then you have to think about like geothermal and things like that could fit on a smaller footprint that might. So we're just trying to put something in place that anticipates the future.
Okay.
The next time you drive to Memphis, I guess it's past Jackson, on Interstate 40, at some point on the right side, if you're heading west, you'll see there's a massive University of Tennessee solar farm out there. And it's just, on the hillside, just rows and rows of solar panels, so. You're going to want to be on large lots typically to make it work financially. So going to 10, no one's going to, in that industry, is going to care about. And you need to be near transmission lines for it to even work well or install them, I suppose. But this is entirely preventative medicine. We're trying to have things in place so we're ready if it were to come in. You know, we probably don't have a lot of applicable parcels right now inside of our city limits. The county's got a lot, but the county's also addressing this as well. So, and it's prevention. It's good to have, kind of set those minimum standards and make it flow better in the community. These are going to be more restrictive than the county standards. You have to have a bigger lot, bigger setbacks and stuff, so.
And in terms of comparison with the county, you all already anticipated this type of use. So what this does, and that was going to be the rounding out of the presentation, is you guys already anticipated this kind of use. You just didn't have any specific above and beyond measures, so to speak. So that's what this does, is it just makes sure that there are some special or particular site requirements specific to these types of uses that are in place.
Okay.
Yeah, so you are.
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I guess I was thinking about when we went to somewhere, St. Louis or somewhere. I think when we went through Indiana, you know, they have the I call them windmills.
The turbine.
I mean, you know, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I was just thinking about things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, technology is evolving so quickly,
Yeah.
and that's why this is written to encompass not just one particular kind, but at least maybe it'll hold us for a few years.
Yeah.
As long as most things are considered renewable, I guess, we'll see if something else is considered. The non-renewables means you're using fuel of some kind right now, but.
We shall see.
Okay, any more discussion on this? Any questions?
We would just ask for a motion to recommend this on to the.
City council?
Correct.
Make a motion to send it to the council as presented.
I have a motion, I hear a second.
I second.
A second, any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Looks like it'll be sent over to the city council.
Good job.
Mr. Gilbert, got anything else that you know of?
No, sir.
Well, anybody else? As far as I know, we'll consider this
Make
meeting
a motion
adjourned.
to adjourn.
Motion is adjourned.
I second.
Any seconds, I second.
All in favor say we adjourn.
Okay,
Thank you all.
We got to get it in.
Pretty close.
Before we closed it without a motion.
This page should be enough.